There are a few of us that are now what we'll consider old timers in this class that have been doing this for, I don't know, I mean, it's been like years or at least weeks, feels like years for some of us, because we haven't seen anything but the few walls that we're looking at. And then some of us that are brand new. So for those of us, regardless of if you're new or not, I just want to go over some of the basic parameters of the room and what we're seeking here. Number one is that communication is strange with this interface that we have between us through these cameras and screens. And so one of the things that I miss is being able to hear everyone breathe. And I just am hoping that everyone exaggerates their breath so I really see the lungs bellow so that I know that everyone is breathing really well. Yeah? Cool. For the most part, our communication is going to be done a few ways. I'm going to ask silly questions that don't really have much of an answer, and mostly I'm just looking for engagement. I'm going to say, do you XYZ, and you're going to give me a thumbs up to let me know that we're all still together. Sound good? Excellent. Stuff like that. If you need our attention, what we're going to ask is that you cover your camera like this. It's very distracting as I'm looking at a grid of everyone, and so if you do that, you get our attention very well, and we will address you. We'll call your name, and then you can unmute yourself and ask a question, and then we'll give you the answer. And during that time, as you're unmuting yourself, you can just hit the space bar of your computer, and it will unmute you for a moment. Give it a half second before you start talking so the first words don't get cut off, you know, that kind of shit. And then I'll be able to hear your question, give an answer, we'll move on. If your question is, hey, can I just see this demo again? I created a sign for it. That sign is this. Do it right in front of your screen, and it'll be distracting. And this just says, rather than wasting time saying, can you show that again? You just do this, and we'll just show it again. No need to ask a question. If you're like, oh, I need to see it from a specific angle, get our attention, unmute, and then you can ask us to look at it from a specific angle. So, make sense? Excellent. In that case, I was asking for an actual thumbs up to verify a real question, not just to placate me whether or not it made sense. Make sense? See the loop I created there? Some of you did, I can tell by your smiles. So, for those of you that are not familiar with, don't worry, John, my jokes are repetitive. You will get them again and again and again. I just got somebody asking me for my jokes again. So for those of you that are not familiar with the partners that I'm working with today, this is Sam.
Hi.
And this is Chris. Hi. Very phenomenally talented physical practitioners as well as diagnosticians. So they're going to be able to help get all of the cues that are going to make it so that we can refine practice today. If you have particular questions for any one of us, feel free to ask specifically. Again, Lux is my name, Sam and Chris. And if you forget it, you can just be like, hey, you, and then we'll all address it. The first part of the class, the first half-ish of the class, is going to be where I'm going to talk and you're going to just practice. And so I'm going to say a lot of things. There's going to be a few times that you're like, I think he meant this, but no, it's what I said. It's going to be weird, and it's potentially going to be weird, and it's by design. If I say it wrong and I actually do mean something different, Sam's going to tell me before any of you. So Sam knows if I'm saying something wrong. Sam's going to tell me what the right thing is, and I'll address it to everyone else. So if I'm not correcting myself, then whatever strange thing I've asked is what I'm asking y'all to do. If it feels like it's not right for you to take that modification, that transition that I'm specifically asking, ignore me and do something that is within the same vein of what we're doing that's appropriate for either your experience level or your fatigue level or for your environment. If you are not with a spotter and not comfortable doing it without a spotter, don't do it. It's not worth it. We're just trying to maintain a practice, refine our practice, not necessarily push our edge at all moments for the next 2 hours. That said, we're going to ask you to do a lot of complicated things, and so be prepared for some good work these next couple of hours if you so desire. Be aware of your surroundings. If you have things that you might land on the way to the ground that could impale you or that you could slip on, I am concerned to see stuffed animals near you. Those are things that if your foot comes down on them and you slip, could actually encourage an injury. So just clear your space of any of the obstacles that might be obstructive. Although a beautiful stuffed animal, I know there's nothing I would rather slip on. Let's see. Be conservative, just in general. If you're questioning a transition between the two of you and you're like, should we? Let the answer just default to be like, not this attempt. Maybe next attempt, just not this attempt as a default answer. Fair? Okay. What else? Did I miss anything?
I don't think so.
All right. Okay, that is a camera adjustment. Nice to see you though, Paula. Okay, so we're going to set up with bases heads facing the camera. And we will, oh, and I just want to ask, everyone can see the demo well here? We're well enough lit? Thumbs up? It's not too dark? If it's too dark, give me a little bit of a wiggle with your thumb on the side. Okay, good. That's all I want to make sure is that we're well viewable. All right, faces on their back, flyers in position. Let's get going. No, I don't care. You can be to the side, whatever, because this is a narrow space here. So.
I don't.
All right. Get y'all more centered. We don't need to see me as much here. You're fine. All right. So we're going to go into a front plank and go through a range of motion. That range of motion typically is that we bend our knees as deep as we can, extend our legs as much as we can. That we rotate in each direction as much as possible. Hi, Lene and Brando, welcome. We're just starting here. And side star is also a great place to work this range of motion. In your side star, you can bring a foot to the flyer's shoulder and get a little bit more internal rotation with the leg that's balancing. And you can hook the flyer's leg with an external, as you're going into an external rotation, and aid your external rotation. Ooh, Tamara and John, I like your setup better, although you still can tilt your camera up. I don't need to see that much of the floor. And also Jill and Aaron, I'm seeing much more of the floor than I need. If you tilt your camera up, I'll be able to see more of you when you go into inversions. Welcome, Bali. Nice to see you. Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right, from there, we're going to go to a shoulder stand. Excellent. In this shoulder stand, let's start with bases with a little bit of range of motion. So bases, we can find a little bit of rotation in one direction and then in the other direction, moving toward 90 degrees of rotation in each direction. Maybe you get a little past 90. And then from there, flyers, let's come to a tuck and then extension, tuck, extension, tuck, extension. And in your tuck, see how low you can bring your legs. Maybe even bring your shins toward parallel to the ground and move your hips toward the base's hips, and then press back out into the inversion. Excellent. And then front plank. Excellent. From front plank, let's go to a reverse shoulder stand and rotate that to front plank. If this feels not right for you, do half rotations. Go front plank, shoulder stand, back plank, and then reverse shoulder stand, front plank, or full rotations. And we'll do that in each direction. Front plank, reverse shoulder stand, front plank. After you've done it in one direction, go in the second. Excellent, excellent, excellent. And we'll meet in the front plank. And from front plank, let's take a hand-to-hand grip. And from there, we're going to go to a back plank. I encourage you to go to a baby hand-to-hand and then press from your baby hand-to-hand to a back plank. Or you can just step to a back plank as you desire. From there, we'll be in a back plank and we'll go to reverse, sorry, from back plank, we're gonna go to shoulder stand to back plank and do that in each direction. Back plank, shoulder stand, back plank. Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right, after 2 rotations of that, we're going to look at back plank and make sure that it is actually a back plank. Can you see your toes, flyers? Excellent, excellent, excellent. And from there, bring your arms overhead without changing your focus. Keep your eyeballs on your toes. Hands go overhead. We'll take a hand-to-hand grip and step to star. Never stop looking at your toes. Jill, Jill, there we go. Excellent. From star, we'll go to front plank and then to star to front plank, star to front plank, star to front plank, star to front plank. There are a number of ways to do this. Some of them don't actually go through a front plank. They're more side star positions. It's all the same to me. We're basically just hips to star, hips to star, hips to star, through whatever versions of side star you want. There's at least 300,000 different variations of this. Pick, I don't know, 3,200 to practice right now. Between 32 and 3,400. Nice. Very nice, very nice. Couple more rotations. And we will meet in a star. Nice. Yeah. All right, in our star, some of us have some ceiling height issues, so modify as you need. I'm still going to say what I'm going to say. In our star, we're going to come free. And in our free star, we're going to bring our legs together. And we're going to bring our arms up by our hips. And with our legs together in this free star and our arms up by our hips, we're going to bring our legs to a tuck. And after a tuck, we're going to come to a pike. And after the pike, we go to straddle. And from straddle, we find straight. And we'll do that a few more times. We'll go tuck, pike, straddle, straight, tuck, pike, straddle, straight. Flyers, you can also play with your arms behind your back. You can hold onto your elbows or your wrists behind your back. I know that without a spotter, a lot of us don't want to do that, and I don't blame you. I don't encourage it. I don't encourage any of this without a spotter, but here we are. Tuck, pike, straddle, straight. Excellent, excellent, excellent. From there, flyers, bring your arms out to a T. Try to get your arms parallel to the ground. And then bring your legs to an open straddle. And then you can even add a pike to that straddle. And then you're going to first bring your right foot to your right hand, flyers. And I did not say your right hand to your right foot. I did say your right foot to your right hand. And then your left foot to your left hand. And you're gonna go back and forth, seesawing between those two. And then I want you to go diagonal. I want you to bring your right foot across your body to your left hand, and then your left foot across your body to your right hand. Try to keep your hand your hands where they are, and move the legs to them as much as possible. Good luck. Nice, Linnea. Nice, very nice. Those of you that are using hands, I love it. I love wise decisions. Nice job. Excellent. From there, we're going to take a foot to hand. In your foot to hand, we're going to do a lot of things. So get comfortable. First thing we're going to do is turn 90 degrees. Bases on your back, turn 90 degrees so that we're looking profile. You can come down or you can be in the air and reposition. From there, we're going to go to extend and bend, extend and bend, extend and bend in our foot to hand. So this can be one leg at a time with no weight in it. You just press one leg. Can you do what I'm saying, please? Just to show it. So you can shift to one side and just lift one leg after another, one leg after another. Sorry, go down to elbows on the ground and do this just on one side. So just on one side where you can press without any weight in it. This would be step one. Then you could do stair steppers where it would go to extension, where you would go to extend one and then the other, and then down one and down the other. From there, you would do both arms at the same time and start to play with pressing that way, which is a different skill set, also valuable. And then we're going to do 3 additional things in our foot to hand here. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to come to extension of the base's arms, and flyers are going to come to a squat. Bases or flyers, if you need a little extra support here, bases can bring feet up and flyers can hold onto the base's feet. But what we're going to do in this squat is we're going to shift our weight to one side and extend the opposite leg all the way. And then bring that back in, shift to the second side, and extend the first side all the way. I'll give you all a moment with that. Nice, nice, nice. All right. From there, we're looking at just some basic rotation. So let's have bases, elbows on the ground or extended is up to you. Flyers are going to stand up. And we're going to look at some rotation, 90 degrees in one direction, 90 degrees in the other direction. Flyers, you're going to put just a hair, a slightly more weight in your back leg than in your front leg as you rotate. And then we'll do the really challenging thing that we've been working on, which is pistons. Now in pistons, we are going to be keeping weight in both arms and both legs the entire time. So at no point should this be relaxing on one side as we're making transitions. There should be a tremendous amount of effort in both the flyer's legs and the base's arms at all times here. And you're going to be letting one elbow hit the ground as the other elbow is extending, trying to get it so that the elbow goes straight as the opposite elbow hits the ground, but the weight stays in both and both are moving at the same time. And take a moment, give it a try. So Jacob and Debbie, when that gets more comfortable, I want you to start moving the one that's bearing weight before the other one gets still. So if you extend your right arm, then you should be bending it while the other arm is extending. All right. At the end of that endurance, flyers, arms behind your back, hold on to your elbows, hold on to your wrists, hold on to your hands behind your back, and then shoulders to feet, come back into start. Excellent. Excellent, excellent. Great. From there, we'll take a hand-to-hand grip in star. For those of you that are not there, star. With that hand-to-hand grip, we're going to step to a reverse front plank. You can do this through simply stepping down the front of the body, or a hand-to-hand or a baby hand-to-hand are other methods that we can make that transition. Flyers, trying to keep your legs together and the front of your body exposed and open while we make this transition. From there, we will go back into star. So flyers are going to lead with the feet, bases are going to make the articulation with the legs. Try to keep those legs together, back into star. Six weeks, huh? Yeah, I'm with you. All right, we're gonna do that one more time. Patty, you okay? Cool. We're gonna do that one more time, back to a reverse front plank, either stepping or floating. And from that reverse front plank, we're going to go to a reverse star. And in reverse star, we're gonna play with our monolimb reverse star. Monolimb reverse star for most of us is going to be where we try to bring both of our arms to one of our base's legs, and we'll release the inside arm, and then regrip it and release the outside arm and regrip it. For those of you that are playing with different variations of your monolimb reverse stars, please do whatever is appropriate for you. Some of us are holding on to the base's second leg. Some of us are going free reverse star or free monolimb reverse star. So make wise decisions and work your booties off. Very nice, everyone. Killing it, Linnea. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, so that's our standard. Now we'll do a couple of other things. The first thing that I'd like us to do from here is we're going to shift to one side and then go croco. Crocodile, croc on side one. From croc on side one, you're going to press through biceps and feet to side two. From there, we're going to go back through center to the biceps and feet. We're going to come through the base's legs with our leg spliers, and we're going to come to a reverse back plank on hands. And then we're going to reverse that. We're going to go from reverse back plank on hands, biceps and feet connection, all the way back up to our biceps and feet, inverted. We're going to go croc side one again. You're going to get just a brief moment of rest here after you push really strong in that croc, and you're going to go 90 degrees sacrum to foot on the second leg. This is your brief moment to rest while the rest of us catch up. For those of you that are new, I just want people to know that usually it's about a 2-month acclimation to this flow. So know that resting is totally normal and takes a while to study this shit. From there, let's reconnect croco. Come back into that croc, and then we're going to do the same thing side two. So go through biceps and feet. Croc side two goes to flip that 90 degree sacrum to foot connection. Back into that croc. Oh, and I lied. This time, let's do it one more time on side one. Sacrum to foot, 90 degrees, flip over. From our brief moment of rest there, I know people get upset with me if I don't do fireballs. So let's do some fireballs. Let's take a hand-to-hand grip. Hand-to-hand grip goes to baby hand-to-hand, baby hand-to-hand goes to tucks it goes to back plank. And repeat that 3 times in each direction. After you've done it 3 times in this direction, you're just going to reverse it. Much better, Erica. Erica, next time you try this, I want your left elbow to go a little bit closer to your ribs. At the end of that, dismount over the base's head. All right. Well done, everyone. We call that the handshake. That's like our warm-up sequence. So the way this goes is, I have a question. How do we do that one thing? And so if you have a question or you want to add to the list, we're now going to see if there's anything that we want to look a little bit deeper into and get some refinements on. So now's your opportunity for questions on anything we've just done. Layla, what you got?
So I wanted to see I think it was front plank to shoulder stand, but with like the legs together. I'm having a little bit of difficulty figuring out like how to shift weight into John's like twisted, uneven hands.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's front plank to reverse shoulder stand. It was the twisty one.
So like a front plank to a reverse shoulder stand. Okay. Pork chop, what you got? A stubborn keyboard. I get it. I get it. Anyone else? Any questions?
I spilled juice and my space bar doesn't work anymore. No, so the foot to sacrum, I don't know. At some point I looked over and Sam was in this balance with Chris's foot on her sacrum, and I heard you saying foot to sacrum, but I don't know where it came from or how you got there.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay, we can take a look at that. That's like a 3-second thing. Let's see. Callan, Hayden, what you got?
I have a question. So for the free start, last week I had my arms out instead of towards my side. And
Okay.
Today I tried to do it with my arms by the side, and it was like completely different. And I'm just stuck of where the flyer maybe focuses on more, if that helps.
Sure, sure. Let's take a moment and answer that one, since that's more of a verbal answer than a visual answer. So the thing is, with the arms overhead, when we have it, we lock the feet in quite a bit, and so there's quite a bit of stability that happens there. As we start to shift the arms up, rather than thinking that I'm with my shoulders down, I actually still think that I engage and try to create this bit of shelf on the backside of the shoulders when I bring my arms up to my side as I am doing a free star there. Some of the things that are important in addition to creating that shelf with the shoulder is making sure that we are back on the base's feet, really close to the heels, so that we don't have to have this big gap between where our shoulders are and any support that I might be able to gain from touching the front sides of the shins. So just see how much surface contact y'all can create with each other, the shins and the head, the shoulders and the feet, and get as much surface contact as you can. And then you're going to be, bases will have a bit of an extension to the ankle to really lock that in, and that should at least get you to your next step.
Okay.
Yeah, Sam, you got something to add?
I just had a clarifying question. When you talk about creating that shelf with your shoulders, you're talking about rounding or lifting?
I'm talking about lifting. I don't overly round. I keep the front of the body more open and try to create more shelf on the back.
You like lift up? You like?
Yeah, similar to how I would do a shoulder to shoulder. You do it differently?
I am working towards relaxing more and more so that I don't have trap and neck tension.
Okay, cool. Let's see, John and Tamara?
Yeah, just a comment, like the foot to sacrum bit with all the crocs.
Okay, cool.
Well, I think we got there eventually, but it was more just that you were saying quite a lot of things very fast, and we were still trying to work out the previous thing, and we can't really see what the demo is doing if we're still concentrating on not dropping ourselves. So
Absolutely.
it was just difficult to work out what we're meant to be doing.
And the bases really can't see if our heads are to the back of our heads are to the display.
Absolutely. And the few things that I'll offer there are not going to necessarily be comforting. One is that to really see the demo, you got to come down, is to not look at it while you're in the air. And so if you get lost, come down, watch it, go back in, maybe this week, maybe next week, maybe during the week. And there's quite a spectrum of practitioner in this classroom, as you're all in my home now. Welcome. And so some of us are, you know, getting every 3 steps. Some of us are getting every 2 steps. Some of us are getting every 5 steps. And so if you get lost in some of the words, it's okay if you don't hit every single thing. You can just jump back in whenever you jump back in. So if I go a little bit ahead of you, just hop back in whenever you can. And I will do my best to keep it with the largest number of people, where I don't fatigue the people that are at the front and I don't wait too long for the people that aren't there yet. Let's see. And then, who else was it? Oh yeah, Kevin, what you got?
I just had a question about the fireballs. How do I help as a base to go from the followers' bent arms to, or the flyers' bent arms to helping her straighten them? Yeah,
there's not that much that you can do aside from be really stable in that moment. The more that you can give extension and make it so that your wrist is in this angle, so that you're directing them to at least move in the direction, not back from where they're coming, but at least in the direction that they're already trying to move, is as much as the base can really do. The flyer needs to be able to develop the tricep and lat extension to be able to get their elbows from bent to straight. There are some things that you can do to make it so that they're in their best position, but as far as straightening their elbows, that is a flyer exercise, which generally takes some time. Usually flyers bring their feet to the ground and put as much weight in their arms and still like make it so that there's tension in the arms as they extend, but let the feet be on the ground to alleviate some of the arm tension as they're developing that musculature. Anyone else? Yeah. Erica, sorry.
Yeah, the croc to bicep stand, since that seems to be a repetitive thing. So when I'm in croc, you know, obviously you have the one elbow underneath you, and then bicep stand, I just haven't done it in so long. Are your hips on nothing? It's all strength?
Accurate. Accurate. Okay, anything else? Okay, cool.
So it's croc to sacrum, croc to biceps. Was there something else to do?
And front plank to reverse shoulder stand. All right, let's look at front plank to reverse shoulder stand. Can I base you in this one?
Okay.
So what I'm going to offer before I show the demo is that what we're seeking as much as possible is we're going to get our flyers toward an inversion much sooner than we would think for this inversion. And so I'm going to present my hand, anticipating where the weight is going to go. I'm not necessarily going to get the best hand position initially. We'll send her to the camera, Chris.
Yes.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my left hand and reach across for the flyer's shoulder, and I'm taking my ankles and I'm going to start to drive through my heel a little bit. And from there, I'm going to take my second hand and reach it around the back of the flyer's head and try to turn my hand in, and then we bend for rotation and we can come off of the feet symmetrically. Did I come on down? Now from the flyer's perspective, there's a little something funky that we got going on here. And so this first arm that comes in is not going to be as stable as my second arm. And so flyers have to resist the urge to put the weight in this arm and wait until this arm comes in, and then they have to go past that first arm of contact and bring the weight diagonally all the way across to that second shoulder. As that happens, the base will be able to be much more consistent in their stability. That make sense? One more time? Okay, great. Anything to add, Sam?
From my perspective, I'm keeping my body straight, like I'm not rotating except for my shoulders. Like I'm just trying to make the shoulders accessible, and then only when this contact comes in, That's when I start lifting up, and I twist after I'm already vertical, basically. And that twist is mostly driven by the base, but some from me too.
Make sense? Great. Give it a minute, give it a try. If that doesn't feel right to you, do half rotations. Go from front plank to shoulder stand and then rotate to back plank. Take a minute and play with this. Kevin, and I'm gonna encourage you to bring your thumbs next to your fingers. You'll get more rotation out of your arms with your thumbs next to your fingers. I like it. I like it. When these, most of us that are not getting it are like landing in hugs. It's pretty great. Okay, so we'll look at going from croc to bicep stand, and we'll look at going from croc to sacrum and foot as two different destinations from our croc. All right, any other questions with that one? Did that work out any better in the rotation? Laura's giving me a look like, hell fucking no. Callan, what you got?
Going into the I can't think, shoulder stand, and then coming back into front plank, I feel like I'm losing it. Maybe I'm anticipating the foot being there faster. Do I just hold on a little longer? I don't know. Is that a question? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, if you're coming down and out of the inversion and you're not hitting your front plank, it's likely that you're coming down too quickly. And you can communicate. You can say, wait now, or you can just try to find more rotation. And then once you have a good understanding of how much rotation you're getting from your base, then you can make up whatever extra rotation you need with your body. And
yeah, the swivel.
Yeah, the swivel, and really just doing that at the end, and you'll start to make your mark. I can take a look at you next time you're doing it and see if there's a certain moment that I would encourage anything, but sounds like mostly just a game of patience.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah, Charlie.
Just a clarification for the transition, is the base stacking the flyer completely? How much core is the flyer using to stack themselves in the reverse?
The flyer is using a lot of core just about always. So yes, the base is not stacked in one of the arms while you're getting into the inversion. The second arm is stacked. So the flyer wants to find the second arm to stack into, not the first arm. The first arm will be compromised. And then the base will, after the weight comes into both arms, yes, then find center and symmetry.
Fair enough. I was just talking about the bringing it up into the inversion.
Yeah.
Bring it up into the
so defining the center.
Gotcha. So there's not one answer to this. The way that I'm encouraging people to do it is the way that Sam is flying it, where the legs stay together and go up together. But that's not a requirement. Flyers can do a lot with their legs changing and bending at the knee or the hip to change the angle. So you can make it so that you're either changing your knee angle, changing your knee angle and keeping the hip the same, or that you're changing your hip angle, or you can use both of them. And so any of those to articulate yourself up into the inversion is all fair game. And then eventually legs together.
Yeah, well, we normally do it through a side star with a slight pike or a stag or whatever. We're just trying to do it Sam's way, and we're looking for some guidance there.
So even if you're coming off of both legs at the same, off of both of the base's feet at the same time does not mean that the flyer's legs have to be symmetrical.
Gotcha.
I think one thing to think about is you're moving towards the leg together with your original question of is the base stacking the flyer, is the flyer doing that? When the flyer's legs are together, basically it requires the base to actually push them all the way to vertical. The flyer stays engaged so that that's possible. But when the flyer is changing the angle of their legs, then they have a little bit more control to stack themselves, if that's where you're at right now.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thanks, Sam.
Cool. Anything else? Okay, let's take a look at going from croc to bicep stand and from croc to the sacrum to foot connection. All right. Going from the croc on one side, which one are you doing first?
Croc to bicep.
So croc to bicep stand. Sam flies it the same way that I do. I like the base's legs already extended so that I'm pressing off of something stable and not having the base bend a leg to try to help me get into this. Or else I feel like it's too many people trying to coordinate too much at the same time. So it's a big, muscly move here. Now, as an alternative or as a way to train that, what we can do is we can go from croc, and then the base will bend both legs and bring the hands to the flyer's shoulders. And actually, will you turn 180 degrees for this so that we can see that? And as you do this, the amount of leg bend that the base has will dictate how much weight we can put in the shoulders. So the base bends the legs a lot, you're doing this essentially through a shoulder stand. If the base bends the legs not as much, then the flyer has to do more of the press on their own, and you can start to find where that appropriate taper is for the two of you. How much support do I need on the shoulders? I'm gonna give you that. Great, I have that musculature. Oh, it's starting to collapse. Let me get more under the shoulders and give some support for that shoulder stand supported version of this. But Erica, either way, you're gonna be training muscularly to do this without the arms eventually. So use the hands as needed and then take them away when you can.
And one trick to get a little bit more power as you're doing that, in the croc, a lot of people fly where just the thumb is on the front of the base's leg. And when actually going into the bicep stand, if you bring more of the hand across, you get a lot more ability to press there.
Mm-hmm. Y'all can hear that well? Excellent. Great. So we can play with that, and or we can take a look at going, and this is more than everything, this is an explosive power move. You're going to be pressing strong through that bicep connection, and you even bring the second foot on the leg to get a little bit of redundant support and push as we're going all the way up and over. From there, the base is looking at making the landmark connection at the sacrum and bending the knee a little bit as it comes in so that the flyer's not kicked in the sacrum as they come up and over. Make sense? What we'll play with next is looking at a croc on hands. For those of you that were here last week, we played with this on hands. We're going to look at it again, and we're going to make a transition from it. So for all of us, let's just take a moment and warm up our croc on hands, just so that we have one. I don't want this to be an endurance thing. We're going to go right back into it and make a transition from it, but let's just do at least one croc on hands. For those of you that already have your croc on hands, go ahead, go do it now. If you want to see a demonstration of it, we'll show a demonstration of it, but you're fine to go do a croc on hands. For the croc on hands, we're going to have the base set up, and we'll have the flyer take a grip around the forearm of the base, and the base can use 1 or 2 arms to support that croc, and the flyer can even use their arm on the base's second arm, and then we'll find lift from there. Trying to find extension through all of the back body, and get our arm and our leg lifted as much as possible. So give that a shot, at least get croc on arm calibrated. Patty, other arm. Yep.
Quick question about the placement of the hand and crock on hand. Do you notice at all that it goes more towards the inner part of the wrist, or is that just, I'm feeling a lot of like pressure downward into the wrist and I'm trying to push back into it, but I don't know if it's just where the weight is bearing in that specific.
Yeah, there will be a good amount of weight in the wrist there. And it is the part of the wrist that generally is stronger, but in this particular position, you are at a decent likelihood of getting that hyperextended. And so looking at a couple of things, you know, as much as possible to get the flyer to lift the shoulders will take some of that pressure off. That's challenging for a flyer though, so you know that might not always be the easiest thing to do. If possible, you can get a little bit more extension through the pinky side and invite the flyer to get a little bit more weight onto there, but then sometimes that can be quite of a blade edge into the biceps of the flyer, so that has to be negotiated as well. The thing that's going to keep your wrist the happiest, when possible, will be to have a second hand on it and to support your own wrist. There's going to be a moment right now where we don't have that ability, but ideally with transitions, we're already starting to make connection with the next point of contact and we'll be reducing the amount of pressure on that. So even if I do go from here, I might have a moment of significant pressure as I reach for the shoulder, which we're about to do, and then it'll come off once that shoulder connection is made and the weight starts to move into the shoulder to hand connection.
Can I add something?
Yes.
If the flyer doesn't yet have the ability to lift their chest a lot in the crock on hands, you can also just do a little bit of a lazier crock on hands in general and not drive your legs up really high. And just remember that the arms are not as forgiving as the legs. And so you can kind of relax the shoulder, raise the shoulders by lowering the legs.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a sloppy crock.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So from there, we're going to take our crock. Much lower to the ground. And I'll reach for the shoulder. And then I'm going to bend the elbow at the shoulder, but I keep the bicep side nice and stacked. As soon as the weight starts to move over that shoulder, I extend that elbow out and we move the hand from the biceps to the shoulder. And there is a good amount of weight in that moment when the hand comes off and moves to the shoulder. As that happens, I am giving some more extension to the wrist so that I can get some of the pressure off as the weight starts to move into the shoulder to hand connection.
Oh, right, we're doing it. Okay. Pressure the shoulder. Doable.
Making that?
Viciously doable.
It's easy to try and do this in a big back arch. That can be really hard on your back, on your low back.
Yeah.
And possibly the base of wrist. So trying to think about
Really good. So.
pulling it more through your core to get up.
No, we're going to turn this.
Yeah, she pressed. Oh,
And we can even start in this position if you feel like it might be too challenging for the wrist.
He does bend.
That does take some of the pressure off also if we just start with one hand already touching the shoulder.
With the shoulder hand? Yeah, I guess.
Cool. Melissa, you got something?
Yeah. Yeah.
All good? All right. Any questions? Crock on hand to shoulder stand. Let's see what you got. 3, 2, 1. What I want us to look at is just a review from last week. We're looking at triceps in hands. And we can look at a range of motion in our triceps and hands where we are no longer going to touch our sacrum and then touch our sacrum and no longer touch our sacrum. So we're starting a front plank. The base's palms are right where the triceps and the deltoid meet, pretty high up by the shoulder. and the flyer has the hands on the sacrum and then can take a hand at a time off of the sacrum, or both hands at the same time off of the sacrum. If you are not confident about that, please take 0 hands off of your sacrum. Keep them there, and then you can start to play with some weight shift. The important thing
We
for
lost
this
your video, Lux.
Yeah, we lost video.
Oh, we lost video? Good to know.
Super helpful.
Yeah.
Did you see any of the demo?
Okay, cool. We'll show the demo again, but we'll have just want to emphasize the importance of having the flyers, keeping the elbows moving toward each other, not letting them go wide. That is a responsibility of bases and flyers to help keep the flyers' elbows toward each other behind the back. Take a look at the demo one more time. Make the connection, release one side, regrip, release the second side, regrip, and if it feels stable, you can release both sides and regrip. Any questions? So this next piece we're going to play with is a pose called tetraskeleton. It's a strange pose. It's like half a bicep stand, half a tricep stand. And we're going to look at one arm in a bicep, and then the second arm will be connected to our sacrum and on the tricep. And the base is going to have one foot in a croc position and one foot in the same place that we just had, whereas in a similar place where we just had the hands. We're going to try this on feet first. And there's a few points that we're going to look at to see if we can make a significant difference in what this can be balanced or where this typically goes off. One of the things that typically happens is we're in this position here, legs will be in whatever, I like to do a double stack, but you can really be in whatever shape you want. The arms, because of this position, tend to want to rotate. And so it's important for us to resist that rotation. And I look at my croc hand and the leg or the arm that's in it, and I'm only a few inches away from it, and I'm looking directly at it. And I focus on that thing that is just right in front of me. And I know that if my entire torso faces it, then my body will be in the right position for my base. And that's one of the most important things to make this balanceable, is really getting as square as possible in the torso. If you can get square in the hips and square in the legs, that's only going to make this easier, but really getting square in that torso is crucial. All right. Yeah, that's great. We're going to do this from shoulder stand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start holding on to the base's ankles, and the base is going to start holding on to my shoulders. And so we're doing this in like a traditional candlestick shoulder stand, but I take the one and I bring it to the biceps and I wrap around for my croc grip, and I take it, I rotate, and I just release the back arm. I bring that to the sacrum and I just think about squaring my shoulders, and I'm pushing so strong in my front arm that the weight moves to the back arm. I don't want to be here. This is a ton of work. This is much less work. So the more weight I can get into that triceps, the better. Make sense?
Yeah,
I'll show it again. Cool. All right, so just to remember all those pieces, really looking at squaring, really looking at focusing on what's directly on me. One of the things I see flyers do the most is just try to look around that limb. They're just like, I need to see into something, and that tends to over-rotate them. So I stare just at the thing that's directly in front of me. Again, we're going to start off just in the shoulder stand candlestick version. One arm comes free, goes to the biceps, wraps around, and then I turn and face that. I take my hand to the sacrum. Base brings the foot to the tricep deltoid connection. It is not by the elbow, it is much closer to the shoulder. And we are here. And make whatever shape you want with your legs. I find that shape to be nice and stable and has a certain aesthetic that has come to be, something I'm attached to unnecessarily. Any questions? Jay, what you got?
Could you elaborate a little bit on Chris's right foot placement on your shoulder?
The triceps one?
Yes.
Yeah, it wants to be right here. And it's gonna be, the base's feet are parallel to each other. They're just gonna be neutral, no rotation needed. You're gonna be perpendicular to the flyer's arm, right where the deltoid and the tricep connect in this divot here. If you don't have a divot, it goes still in that same space.
Flyers have a lot of balance here, which is really nice, and so I'm trying to extend very slowly and methodically so that they can make little corrections on the way up. I try to make a really soft ascent.
Yeah, there are many times that I want the base to just get their legs extended and strong and straight and quick. This is not one of them. This is one that I do appreciate a nice, slow extension, and we find the balance together during that extension. Cool? If it feels like this is not right for you, keep the hand to shoulder connection. Make the same shapes, flyers, and just keep the hands and shoulders connected. Layla, what you got?
How unstable is it in the like in the bases this direction? So flyers, I guess, this direction? I don't know. I'm not sure exactly how to explain that.
It's stable in the base's lateral direction. It
Lateral,
has
like
less,
this way?
no, there
This
it
way.
has less. Yeah, that way
Okay.
it has less. Yeah, so this way stable.
Yeah.
This way less stable.
So how
But-
are you helping that from? Because it looks like it would just tip in that direction, like easily.
And just so you know, yeah, so most people are already practicing. You're welcome to go practice. You're welcome to also sit and listen to this. So generally speaking, it is the flyer that's going to do a lot to help mitigate that instability. The most common fall that I see out of this is because of rotation, is because the triceps and the biceps open up. So keeping this elbow square to you and really coming across the front of your body and not letting it touch your torso, but pushing it up this way, tends to be how this gets the most stable. Again? Cool, thank you. Good eyes.
Yeah, Jacob, I see that your foot is kind of parallel with Demi's arm, which is kind of skewing her not perpendicular with you. This one's a little easier if the base's feet are as parallel as possible, I've learned.
As parallel to each other, so perpendicular to the flyer's arm.
Yes.
Oh, wait, what are we doing? I was thinking tricep on hands. So I'm not really aligned with, I'm not parallel with his arm at all.
And I am instantly pushing so much in that bicep to get the weight into the triceps. I don't want to hang out with the weight too much in here. John, what do you got?
Just the foot that's on the tricep. Is there any way of stopping it from sliding? Because we just keep sliding too much.
Yeah, so fabric, chalk, rosin, and then as Chris was saying, adduct and just make sure that you're squeezing your legs in.
If the flyers to obtuse will slide them down.
Oh, yeah, that would be another thing to look at. Sam was just saying is that if this triangle is too obtuse, it's going to encourage more slide. And so make sure that you're moving it into more of an equilateral triangle so that you'll have more of a purchase on that connection.
When I'm transferring the weight over from the bicep stand over to the arm on the back, how much weight is in the bicep stand, and then how much in between shifting towards the tricep delt in the back?
Yeah, it's a funky thing because we're trying to get more weight into the triceps, so there should be more weight on that side, but there's more work on the bicep side to do that. So it's a funky thing. I'm trying to get the weight here, but I have to push harder here to do it. So it's going to feel like it's more here, but I'm only doing that to try to get the weight there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But let's see. I want to get you. There we go. That should be good because we're going to use your feet on my knees, remember? Yeah. Okay. So to get into this in hands, what we're going to do is we're going to take our position from the beginning with the biceps grip. I'm going to take my hand to the sacrum and prepare for the final position. And I bring my knee out to the side so that the base can touch that knee with the foot and help press me into this position so that I don't have to do it all with the arm press. The leg can help there. Cool. We'll show it again. Same. So we'll start off in our front plank position. We're going to make our biceps and hand connection first. I wrap around significantly around the forearm. Chris has a nice extended arm. I bring my second hand to my sacrum, my elbow in the air, and Chris takes that grip on the tricep and hand connection. I bring my front knee out so that Chris can help leverage into the inversion rotation.
Chris, can you talk about your arm rotation?
Yeah. So we talked about the foot being perpendicular to the flyer's arm, but if you look at where my hand is now, you're actually going to one hand is in this orientation, the other hand rotated to this orientation so that I can grab the flyer's bicep. Yeah, basically, yeah, that's pretty much it. Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah. So his arm rotation is not symmetric.
Yeah, it looks like, to me, it almost looks like this palm is facing this hand and this palm is facing away. And that lines up with the flyer's anatomy. This would be, I think, really hard on the wrist if we were trying to hold the tetraskeleton on hands this way. So I'll do it this way.
Yeah. Any questions? All right, remember, you don't have to press all the way from the biceps into this. Use that knee to foot connection to help elevate the flyer's hips into this inversion. If it doesn't feel right, stay connected to the legs or stay connected with the knee still connected to the foot and make it a 3-point balance. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, Kevin?
Can you tell me about the flyer twisting, how it relates in the foot on the croc versus the hands on the croc?
It's going to be similar in either one. If we just let this open up, we lose stability in the front part of the deltoid and the pectoral. And if we square it and keep it so that we're not rotating out of it, we get to use much bigger muscles in the triceps and the lats that'll help stabilize it and reduce the rotation. Cool. We have a nice complicated transition that we're going to play with, and then we'll show a progression moving toward that. So the first thing that we're going to look at is going from
basically a croc to tetraskeleton arms.
Yeah, we're going to go from croc on hand to our tetraskeleton on hands. And then, do you guys go to triceps?
We're working on it.
We're working.
And then eventually what we're working on is trying to get this to rotate so that the second arm moves out of the biceps and moves into the triceps. Which, like with the limited amount of time that we have tonight, is probably not going to be a tonight thing, but that is what this is moving towards. So we'll look to see if we can make this press again, and then can you move this way just a little bit? Sure. We'll see a little bit more of you that way too. Mm-hmm.
So same thing, you don't have to start in the croc, you can go ahead and start in this position. But either way, I'm still thinking about trying to invert. And then as I get to about here, we're thinking about squaring up and looking at that other arm. Yeah, I need to extend more of that.
Yeah, the extension, Sam's going to talk about it, but the extension through the bicep arm is super important because otherwise the base's hand gets really flexed because we have to reach too far up and it's too far away.
It's a little harder than I realized it could be a lot.
Yeah, I personally like starting this with two hands on the bicep, this supported croc rather, just because it gives me time to really push through the knuckles and be really stable so that I have all the time in the world to find a really good grip over on the tricep over here. Yeah. So now she's really extended through this arm, which makes my life a lot easier. If she brings her elbow in towards her belly, this sucks and it hurts.
Yeah, and it makes me want to jump and spot. So it's like, yes, those things are not what we're seeking. Really good extension in the front side there, and that's what we're seeking in this, much like everything else that we've been playing with. If you can get to that place and start to move a little bit past it, what we're going to try to do is get so much weight moving into that triceps connection that the bicep hand gets so light that the bicep hand can start to release. And eventually, we were playing last week, moving from that, we were doing the opposite. This week, we would be, rather than going downhill, eventually looking at moving uphill and moving from that biceps to the triceps.
I don't think for time reasons we'll show that, but if you do that, you'll want to rotate your body to get a little bit more square, like to a shoulder stand position.
Right. So you can play with going from your croc to your tetraskeleton on hands, or you can, instead of going to the tetraskeleton on hands, you can work from that croc still to the shoulder stand.
And sort of halfway between what we did earlier, the croc and the shoulder stand, and the croc and tetraskeleton is the flyer will have the triceps and hands position here, where I'm like touching my shoulder.
And you're going to shoulder rather than the triceps. And so the flyer's training to get their positioning right, but still working through the stability of something that is familiar to us, like a shoulder stand. So the flyer is not reliant on the grip and the arms. They do get to really work on the alignment of where that hand lands on the sacrum, getting that elbow in, hitting your position, but still with the comfort of the shoulder stand. So whatever feels appropriate to you there.
And then the base can, over time, slowly move that hand grip from a shoulder to slightly more delt and working towards the tricep. We can do that bit by bit.
Cool.
In different steps.
Any questions? All right, show me yours.
Also, basis, the stronger you can be in the bicep arm, flyers are using a lot of core muscles to peel themselves off the arm and push themselves into inversion. You can make a really strong bicep arm. It's going to make your life a lot easier, and yours as well.
How do you do both of those things at the same time while you're using your legs and not bowing really, so that you're not using your abs?
Yeah, the nice thing is, Danielle, is that using the front side of the biceps here, you know, we have two options, is that we can really think about, since I'm using the front side of the pectoral and the lats on this side, it's easy to want to use the back on the opposite side, but it is a conscious choice to say, fuck that. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this foundation of this pectoral and this lat that's pressing on the front side, and I'm going to let that turn on the muscles just below it, and let these then start to press rather than letting it start to go into the back where our brain is just like, fuck it, get into the inversion. I'm going to think, no, I'm going to actually fire muscles sequentially down the front of my body. This week, I have to say, really strong practice. And I will say, I have never seen so many beautiful tetraskeleons. I just want to encourage everyone, take a goddamn picture of your tetraskeleon and put that on social media and just be like, look, I at least got a little tetraskeleon in my life this week. Or, you know, if you don't want to call it that, you could be like, look, I got this weird acro pose that I don't know how to spell, and I just like the shape of it. And you can put that up, and I will celebrate the shit out of it. But really phenomenal work. Everyone's camera setup looks really good. Everything looked really clear and easy to see. So I hope that our feedback was useful and pertinent and appropriate for what y'all are working with. And as always, I want to encourage everyone to reach out to us throughout the week if you're working on this stuff and you would like to have feedback on what you're working on. We're happy to give it. So send us a message, and happy to keep in touch throughout the week. Who was that? What was yeah, y'all, your spelling is atrocious, whoever's typing in the chat right now. It's okay. But if you look it up, it's an ancient Greek word, and it does have a spelling. No, it's not scallion. But anyway, You can laugh at the chat text with me. But take a look if you are not in the grid view. If you're in the speaker view and you're really just looking at us, please take a moment and put it into the grid view. Look at the people that share the classroom with you. Wave to everyone. The whole hand, not just the middle finger. Danielle. And I just want to thank all of you for being here and for supporting this. And it's very exciting. And there's not a lot of people that are working on material like this. It's such a pleasure to find people all over the world that are playing with this. So thank you all, from those of you that are waking up with us in Europe and the Middle East, for those of you on the East Coast that are staying up super late, and for those of you in Bali that are just starting your day also, and for all of us in between, and for those of us that still have to eat dinner, thank you so much, everyone. Have a great week. And most of you have already paid for upcoming classes, but for those of you that desire to be in this class ongoing that will continue to push these edges, please reach out. And if you prepay, it's just much easier to not have to have this conversation each week about money. I'd love it. And we can just focus on acro and conditioning. And I love you all. Thank you. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Chris.
Sam, thank you.
Everyone take a moment and thank your bases. Thank your flyers.
Folks. Hi, everybody. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, base.
Hi, everybody.
Everyone have a great night.
Hi,
and,
Shy
if
Bay.
there's any feedback that you have for us that would make this a better experience for you, please give it to us. We're still just in the beginning phases, and it's easy to make adjustments now before we're too rigid in our ways.